Well, nothing jumping the falls today. It's a fairly meager run to begin with. It is worth checking out. Take a look at. Conditions have got to be just right. And you might catch one. You never know until you try. That's a beaut. Yeah, it's probably what, 22 inches? Got a little bit of maple syrup left over from helping a friend. I didn't think I was going to see a couple of nice salmon fillets on it this afternoon, so that worked out really good. Nice pink meat, nice fat salmon. I like to see it rolling about like that. Temperature, so you can keep your hand on it for about 5 seconds. Wildlife management area, so no houses. All right, well, hey folks, I'm back. Yeah, so this is the first outing for me this season, 2026. Check out the old stomping grounds, ponds, rivers, and streams up this way. New rig, new setup, doing the same style, truck camping, and yeah, trying to get up early and get out there and check out the scenery up here by the Canadian border, northern New England. It's a breath of fresh air, that's for sure, to get out here like this. Thanks for coming along. See how she handles. Wow, long stretch of road here with not a car in front of me or behind me. Get the whole interstate to myself. The Interons. I had to stop and pick up a snowball and throw it. Hanging on because it's been cold at night. So there it is, the white stuff. I did it. All right, well, after driving for a couple hours north on the interstate, made it up here near the Canadian border, and we've got a bunch of ponds in the area, so there's a lot of wind. Boat on the roof here. Got my fly rods and some spinning rods. Back up in the woods here. Haven't seen anybody else on the dirt roads back in here. So it was supposed to rain this evening, and hoping that it does, because one of the rivers that might have some steelhead in it up this way should come up in water volume, which can bring the fish out of the lake. So going to be looking at that tomorrow after it rains for the day. So that's what they're predicting, rain. The high winds are kind of indicating that there's a storm coming as well. So, but pretty much just threw everything in the back here. Got my new cap with, made some makeshift day curtains, basically so I can be in there, and the windows are tinted. And yeah, I can see out, but can't see in, so that's a good one. Got a little bunk here, a cooler, and a little heater buddy. It's still quite cold out here. Probably grab some snow on the way out just to throw a snowball. There's a pretty good pile of snow over there, and I think it was like 38 when I left the house, so it's probably up around 40 or so now, 45 up here. But yeah, winter's still kind of holding on. As far as the cold goes, it's supposed to be down in the 20s at night, 30s during the day. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how much out in the boat I'm gonna do, if there's a lot of wind and stuff. But that's several ponds I'm gonna look at, so I'll take you along. I'm gonna look at a few of these ponds up here on these dirt roads, and there's several in this area. So they're not real far apart, a few miles apart. There's like 3 of them. So I'm just going to take a little ride now that I've gotten my back of my truck kind of organized and straightened out. My cooler and stuff straightened out. My bunk straightened out. Did quite a bit there since I got here, because this was just all kind of thrown in there. So at least now it's manageable. And yeah, I might make it out if the wind kind of calms down. The trees are pretty blustery. Pretty good wind blowing out here. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming along. Well, here's the pond I'm probably going to come back to. There's a couple more up the road. There's like 3 or 4 of them in the area within 5 miles. So I'm going to go check those out just to take a look at them as the wind is hopefully dying down for an evening getting out in the little boat. But beautiful spot here. Supposedly there's brook trout. Brook trout in here. No houses on that side. It's all pretty much forested. Good sized pond. Water flowing through here. Nice little stream coming out of that lake or pond. A big pond. Bigger than I thought. I'm gonna come back to it. I gotta take a look at these other ponds up the road here, but pretty nice so far. Yeah, getting out here with the little boat, little trolling motor. Beautiful little pond here. Cedar trees, surrounded by cedar trees, and yeah, it's probably a mile or so long. Nice to be out here. Windy. I think a storm is moving in and pushing some wind in front of it, so I'm going to be fighting it down. I'm trying to stay on the lee side of where the wind touches the water over here coming in. Maybe stay on the back side of that. There is a slick just on the back side of that ripple up here, but I can get to it. Little moose out there. Otherwise, pretty quiet. Wildlife management area, so I don't know. I'll probably troll around a few times and see what happens. I'm not expecting much. Ice just went out, but it's going to be more like a camping and checking out my rig. So checking out the camping as well. And this is just a bonus getting out here in the little boat, doing a little trout fishing. See if they're biting. Water temperature still might be a little too cold, even for the trout. I don't know. Fighting the wind with the electric motor. It's just this boat is a little too light in the front end, so I'm just gonna have to stand here and cast and hope the wind dies down a little bit. Oh, looks like somebody's getting out in a kayak. Might be a last look at it. Might be my last look at it for the evening. Sun's starting to go down and the wind is not dying down, so it was just a little too much for trying to steer this light boat, which is me, and at the bow just wants to travel whatever way the wind's going. So I am going to have to start getting ready for camping tonight and getting dinner going. Might sit on the tailgate and have a coffee here. Watch, there's one boat. You guys went out here. Maybe watch, see if they catch anything. Wow. Quite a bit of snow up here still in the woods. April 30th. May 1st tomorrow, and there's still snow in the woods up here. It's another one of those ponds way up here in the Northeast Kingdom. A big bump of a mountain up there. Looks like there's an island. And a public boat, little kayak launch here. We have to come back here tomorrow. I'd like to see the weather calm down just a little bit. The wind is going pretty good. Pretty good wind. I'd like to see it calm down. Well, it's pretty cool to get to a spot where there's nobody around. Can't hear a road. Can't hear people. Can't hear machinery.
There's nobody out here. Woods are just starting to wake up. Snow is still on the ground in places around here. But now it's starting to get dark. I had to rush around. I got a bunch of firewood. And I'm going to get dinner going. And sit around the campfire and have a coffee with some brandy in it. About a little snifter of brandy. And get a good night's sleep. Alright, rice and chicken. Can't beat that. Didn't eat much all day today. Was out in the boat for a while and kind of skipped lunch. So this is going to be really good. Alright, got some regular flavored brandy to go with the coffee. My sister sent me some of this Montaigne's South American coffee, really good. And of course some Starbucks. Christmas gifts from Sissy. Christmas gifts from my sister. Much appreciated. But this regular flavored brandy, that great coffee. And I just got a fire going. Get my little chair out. Have my sip my brandy and coffee and sit back in the chair. Camping. Alright, camp's all set up. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to hit the hay. See you in the morning. Alright, had a good night camping. Had to have the GoPro on the charger in the cab here overnight, so I didn't do much filming this morning when I got up, but it was snowing out, mixed snow with rain. Today's May 1st. So, I'll take this thing out of four-wheel. Of course, there's nobody behind me. There's nobody on these roads. Yeah, so I'm just getting up right near one of these ponds and getting out, pondering, as we used to call it. Doing some pondering. Checking out these ponds up here. And, haven't seen a lot of fish activity. The water's still cold because the ice just came off, really. Glad I brought a chainsaw with me. I did have several of these instances this morning. Having to cut some trees out of the path, out of the roadway. There's trees down from the storm last night. And yeah, I had to cut my way in a few places, so I was real glad I brought a chainsaw. Some of them down from the winter, and just nobody's been up in here. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that this rain is going to bring the water up in the streams, so that the steelhead will be encouraged to run up them. It's usually this time of the year, and then a rain will get things started. So that's what's going on. It's a little colder than expected. Like I said, there's patches of snow on the ground still in here, up here, way up here. And we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm just getting up. I haven't had breakfast or anything yet, but I figure I'd start moseying my way. Here's one of the trees here that was down. I had to get cut. Up here in the Northeast Kingdom, they call them ponds, but then when you get there, they're like lake size. Yeah, some of them are a mile or so long. I don't know what they use as a gauge to qualify what's between a pond and a lake, but some of these ponds are pretty big. Anyway, we're almost down to one of them here, so we'll check that one out soon. All right, we're down to this next pond, and it's right alongside of the logging road here, so that's pretty interesting. This is the one that I stopped at last night. That I had to cut that tree that was across the road to get down here, and that we just passed. But this is the pond with the island in the middle of it, and yeah, it comes right up to the roadway here, logging road. A couple geese out there, fish ducks, cedar trees, but pretty woodsy. Great camping trip. It's like hypothermia weather. That's just it's just cold enough and wet and everything enough. And it's pretty socked in here. Of course, you could see all the mountains and stuff in the background last night when I was here, but it's just socked in with clouds right now. Really interesting to see. It's really quite beautiful. When they say pond on the map, I figure you know, something a couple of acres. But I looked it up. I think this one's like 167 acres, which is quite large actually. I was hoping to get out there and paddle it, use my little electric trolling motor, and really check it out. It's just a little too windy for the lake. I don't know what I'm going to do for breakfast yet, but I've got some oatmeal that I usually save for camping. It's funny, I usually don't eat oatmeal, but when I'm camping it's good. I've got some of that apple spice. I'm kind of actually looking forward to that. This is the lake that feeds the Steelhead stream that I'm going to be checking out. It's about 10 miles of river that flows out of this lake. I'm going to show you here in a second, but it comes out of this end, heads north actually, and for about 8-10 miles I'll be stopping along that and checking stretches of it. But the river is fed by this lake. So this is the lake that feeds the Steelhead stream that I'm going to be hiking and fishing. Deep glacial lake. I think it's like 400 or 500 feet deep. That's big. It's 8 miles long, so it's a pretty big body of water. There's a couple loons out there, but pretty white cappy, wind's whipping here, so I won't be going out in the boat out here today, but I'm going to be hiking the stream that comes out of it. So this is what the lake looks like. It's about halfway. You can see about halfway. It goes out around the corner up there. There's big 1,000-foot mountains on either side of it. So it's pretty dramatic when you can get out there in a boat, but not today. All right, this is the outflow of that lake, that deep glacial lake there. Yeah, I'm just looking to see if I see any fish down here, seeing what the outflow looks like. I'm gonna hike down this river. The steelhead would be running up from another lake up this way, so they're somewhere between here and there. Just trying to see if I see anything right here. Well, I do see a few parr and smelt out the outflow here, so that's encouraging to see. There are a few small fish swimming around down there. This is the outflow. I'm going to hike down the river this way, so I'll see what it looks like when we get in there. Well, here's the stream farther down. Probably traveled about 4 or 5 miles from the lake. I think I'm probably going to head closer to where the steelhead run out of. We'll stop and have lunch here anyway. Just look at it. The river, of course, gets bigger as it heads closer to the source. So I'm going to head downstream a ways. But I figured I'd stop and check this out. Nice little plunge pools. Nice looking little river. So I'm going to probably hike this, but a little farther downstream, a little closer to the source of where it's coming out of. Pretty cold out.
for May 1st. Nice little run right here where I parked to have lunch. So I just had my lunch and I got looking at it and I was like, well, before I drive on, maybe I should give it a try, see if there's anything in here. Never know till you try, right? Rocks. Found one of those already. Tell me I'm gonna lose my fly on my first cast. Got it. It's one of my stonefly imitations. I did a video on tying these, basically a jig head that I painted, and like fly tying material. Imitates a hellgrammite or a stonefly. It's got a little bit of a color of like it might be an egg sac too, so that's why I'm throwing it. All right, well, I'll check back if anything happens. So I'm gonna retie. Got this thing here, little yeah, it's like a Mr. Twister with a egg colored bead. Give that a try. The steelhead run. They have to come up these falls here. In order to make it up to where they spawn. When they're running good, you can stand here and watch them jump up the steps of this natural stepping stone. Natural steps in the ledge, they have to come right up through here, and a lot of times you can stand here and watch them come up through when they're running good. So I'm going to stand here and see if I can see anything that's made it up this far. Hey, any luck? Oh, nice one. You just catch that. That's a beaut. You guys got about a 22, maybe 2 foot long steelhead there. So they are starting to run up. I'm gonna have to give it a try. Myself, and I used to come up here a lot, but that's a beaut. Yeah, it's probably what, 22 inches?
36.
36. For the record, right?
Yeah.
For the record book.
For the record.
That's great.
I'm happy with that.
And they come back actually to there's a stream that comes out of the hatchery.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know about that, where the ferry is.
Well, I do Lake Ontario.
Okay.
And the same thing happens up there as
Yeah.
with the cohos
Yeah.
and the Chinooks and the steelhead.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
go right back up
They
to
go
the
back to the hatchery, right?
Yeah.
And so I've seen them do that there.
I've seen them do that there as well. Not there, but up in Lake
Yep,
Ontario
yep.
as well, where they're coming up.
Yep. I
These-
think it's an aggression thing. You know, the males fight, you know, of course. So
It could be.
they just try to get nose in front of each other, and then they'll splash, and there'll be moves of aggression. The only thing I can figure, because you can't see any flies on the surface.
There's not a thing on the surface.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like they're coming up and taking
But
emergence.
yep. Get your fly or whatever drifting right through there. They'll smack at it because they're already
pissed off.
and they're already pissed off, right? So fun though, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm glad to see you got that. I gotta go get some hooks. I lost hooks on the bottom. I've got to make sure I've got enough so that I get down there. I don't only have 2, you know. Is there a little store around here that has that stuff? All right, well, I stopped filming. It It was pouring raining out, so I decided to not mess around with the. Well, 2 more fish were caught, but the battery died on me, and it was raining like anything, so I'm just getting back out here from going back up to the truck. But I went way downstream, maybe a mile, and fishing was slow down there. There's a few fish stacked up here, and I don't know if the run was early this year because it got warm or they were just waiting for a rain. But there were what, 4 fish caught while I was here, and I had a few bites, but it was definitely some activity, so that was good to see. So I figured I'd stick it out, go get the battery, warm up my hands, and tie on a new jig and come back down and give it a try before dark. So here we are. All right, I'll check in if anything happens. Well, just waking up here this morning. Camera died on me yesterday afternoon. I was having issues with the batteries, so I got them to charge all night, and then tested out the camper with the heater buddy to get me warmed up enough just to get undressed and get into bed. And then sleeping with the 20-degree bag was definitely pushing the limits last night. You can see it's snowing out right now. Snowing out on May 1st. It's a little unusual. I think I've been saying that right along, seeing patches of snow on the ground here, and just how cold it's been. Definitely colder than it usually would be in early May. I think this is the first time that I've seen it snow. I guess I take that back. I've seen it snow before, early in the season up here. Early in the summer season, or yeah, late mid-spring, I guess you would call it. But yeah, pretty interesting to see it snowing out. I gotta go down to this pond down here that I'm. Hey, silly goose. You're kind of a silly goose. You've just been hanging around here every time I drive by. You're right there. This goose has been here, lone goose has been here for several days now. Every time I drive by here. The silly goose is out here every time I drive by. Right there. All by himself. Silly goose, what are you doing? Getting the sun? You like this spot, huh? Where's your friends? This is a good place to stop and like organize, cook breakfast, and straighten out the cab of the truck, straighten out the back of the truck, which seems to be a real challenge. I've also been tucking them when I'm not sleeping and just putting them on the bunk. I made this bunk out of a plastic pallet, and then I made a little round table for my tire. So I like to keep the tire in the bed where I can access it easy in case I have a flat in the middle of the night. If you've ever had a flat on a rainy night on a back road, you know how much of a challenge it can be to get that tire out from underneath the truck when it's raining out. You got to lay on your back and get under there, and then find out that the crank handle is rusted, or the chain is broke or whatever, and then you can't get it out, or that the tire goes flat on you. It's difficult to pay attention to the air in the tire. When it's tucked up underneath, you tend to forget about it. So I like to keep my spare tire in the bed of the truck where I can get to it, especially if I have a flat at night and raining, or even if it's just raining or cold. Getting under there, busting your knuckles when it's cold out, wet and rainy on your back. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. So I put my spare tire in the bed of the truck. That way I can monitor how much air is in it.
and I made it into a table. So I got a piece of plywood that I cut round, and that's where I have my storage and a few things set up on top of that. And it actually makes good use of that space, especially when I'm laying there. I can have my little alarm clock and have that kind of like as a nightstand as well. I can set my coffee down on that or whatever, too. But keeping this organized, of course it's a mess right now, is really a challenge. I'll bring things into the front, like a flashlight or whatever, into the cab to look for something, and I'll come back here and get all the way in there and be like, oh, I need the flashlight. Of course, now I'm starting to think that I got to put double of everything, so I got to put a pen in the glove box and a pen back here if I want to write something down. Same with headlights. Kimmy gave me a little book to write down, you know, about the trips and the dates and temperatures and things like this when you go on camping trips. So I keep that in the back of one of these storage containers, but then I couldn't find a pen. So there's a lot to it as far as just nuances and organization, man. Wow, getting things organized. The winter gear, trying to put the winter gear away, even the heater buddy in the back of the truck takes up room. So some of these things that accommodations you have for the winter also take up a little bit more room that I'll be getting rid of. And I'll be able to open up the windows and stuff like that too at night. Drying off my moccasins here. I got a pair of handmade moccasins that got wet on me. Of course, I've been wearing them as much as possible, and it looks like, sadly to say, I'm going to be needing a new pair. Got them wet again, even though I snow sealed the bottoms of them. Over the years, it has helped to, for years, help them to last. Even kind of treating the threads and stuff like that. Nice thick leather, doubled up sole on the bottom. Nice pair of handmade moccasins. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of sad to say they're they're finally starting to wear out. I have to start looking for a new pair or make a new pair. I did try to repair these. So I've tried to maintain them over the years, and it's worked well to treat the leather and snow seal, wax the bottoms of them and stuff. But they got wet here the other day, and yeah, I'm trying to dry them out. Excuse to hang out here. Sun finally came out. I want to take off my muck boots, insulated boots, as it's getting warming up a little bit. I don't want my feet to sweat too much, but part of the reason I wear the moccasins is, yeah, my feet stay a little drier in them, get a little more air. Well, I got the old moccasins pretty well dried out. There are 2 layers of leather, so looks like I've worn through on one of them. There's a water impoundment above here, an old dam. It's also a reservoir for the town or whatever. Big feed pipe. Nice looking stream. Alright, well, this is the Salmon Steelhead River that I'm looking at fishing. Learning more and more about it over the years. I've been here many times, but always south of here, closer to the lake. So this is kind of like the northerly end of the run that the fish come up.
but yeah, I just wanted to stop and take a look at it. There's a sign that's closed from like here up. Pretty impressive waterfall up there. I don't think that they can jump up that, but a lot of water. See how good it shows up on screen. Big waterfall. New part of this river I'm seeing for the first time here, so kind of interesting to see this upper reach where it's closed from here up. All part of the journey here. Checking out something new. And finally the sun came out and warmed up. 50 degrees out. You can see a few little midges there, gnats in the air. So bugs are even coming out. Cool. Might see some activity yet. Sporadically pushing up, a couple at a time or whatever. Guy caught 2 earlier. Here's the 3rd one. Been here for about an hour and a half or so. They seem to be pushing up in a few groups of, ooh, that's a big one. Hey, go check it out. Oh, that's a good sized pike. Oh, I would throw it back myself too.
I'm gonna poke his eyes out and let it go.
Nope. I am not.
What is that?
Kick him out of the river. We don't want him in here. There's so many of them.
I want this one. I'm 29.
27.
Jeez.
All 28.
Yeah. It's a good one.
So smart.
Did he hit your fly?
Hit a nightcrawler.
Huh?
Right here at the bank.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Whoo! The jumper. Oh boy. Really jumpy. He's jumpy. Jumpy Atlantic salmon. Strong. Using the jig fly. Weight jig fly. I hammered it. A couple of hours waiting paid off. Ooh. 6-pound test. I gotta watch it. I can get him around the bushes over here. My net is on the other side of those bushes. Stay on there, buddy. I'm gonna bring you down this way. My boots are leaking, but I think I'm gonna have to get them wet here. Wow, he's still jumping. That's a beaut. I'm getting wrapped around my legs here. there's the net. See if I can keep him way out of the rocks now. I just went over. Oh, let's see. Should I net him or try to land him? He's heavy. Try to net him, I guess. Doing the spirals. Come on over here, fishy. Oh, I got him. Nice. Yeah, nice salmon. That'll be good. Fought really like you'd expect a salmon to fight. That was great. Well, when I was cleaning off my cutting board earlier today after lunch, I didn't think I was going to see a couple of nice salmon fillets on it this afternoon. So that worked out really good. Nice pink meat. Nice fat salmon. Well, day 3 of my fishing camping excursion, and waking up to it snowing out again here, very lightly, snow flurrying. I'll show myself because he just woke up. But yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna head back to that river where we saw some salmon. That was pretty good yesterday evening. Saw 3 people catch, well, 3 caught, or 3 hooked and 2 brought in, and 1 pike, and I caught a salmon. So there was some activity there. Guy said he was catching steelhead there as well, so I'm gonna go back there and give it a try. This might be the last day, but good camp, good truck camping night, and good sleep. And here it is, snow flurrying again this morning. It might not show up. It's a little bit dusky light because it's just about 6 a.m. So, but yeah, there's some snowflakes in the air. Day 3. It's snowing in May. Little tiny feeder stream. It's got some fish in it. This is what they go up to spawn. Even up these little teeny brooks. I don't see anything at the moment, but they've got a little observation spot here. Thought I'd stop and check it out. Nothing this far up. In this little pool anyway. Alright, we'll go down to the bigger river. Oh, he's a pretty one too, huh? Yeah. Yeah.
Where is I hook him? Oh, he ain't bad hooked, is he?
I don't know. I got a pair of pliers here if you need them.
You know what? Oh, we'll cut the line. You want to cut the line?
Sure.
Here. Oh, you got a knife on that? Put it really close. Yeah, that's a brown trout. Put it close as you can if you could. Don't cut my finger.
There you go.
How square his fucking tail is.
Yeah. That's a beaut.
Not bad, right? What about a pound and a half maybe?
Yeah, he's 16 inches. That's a decent sized brown trout. He's up here chasing stuff too.
Yeah, the water must be... They like the water a little tad warmer.
Yeah. Yep.
It does feel warm compared to the air.
53 degrees.
Yeah.
That was last 2 days ago.
That's pretty warm for the air temperature.
No, that's the water.
What? That's what I'm saying. For the air temperature, though, the water's warm for the air temperature.
Yes.
By comparison.
30.
It was 35 this morning and snowing up in Westmore.
This was 2 days ago. The biologist took it, the reading, and it was 53 degrees, and that was up in that deep hole up there.
Huh.
So it might have gone down a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's been cold at night.
Yes.
And that impoundment, or the pond that's above here, that slows the water rate down, and it probably gets warm in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely up there.
Yep.
That freaking pond up there is cold.
Yep.
Warm. That warms up fast.
It warms up there, yeah.
But it does have a river coming down. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the current and then probably the bait fish, if the bait fish are pushing up.
The Clyde Pond up there gets warm. But it comes back from another river lake, too, the Derby Pond.
Yep.
And that's warm.
Huh.
But then you got another one. You got Island Pond.
Yeah.
That's further up.
Yep.
That's probably a colder lake.
Yeah. Yep. A little bit higher up in elevation.
Yeah. Bloomfield.
Yep.
Island Pond. Oh, it's a fish.
Well, hey, it was good to see something caught. My little tiny house on wheels. It's good to get in out of the weather. It's about 38 degrees and raining out, which is good for the fishing, but not good for the hands. But it wasn't great out there this morning. That older gentleman there caught a 16 or 17-inch brown trout, and yeah, I'm taking a break, but coming back here to make some coffee. And check the time, it's 10 o'clock already. Wow, I was out here at 6. That was a pretty good shift. Yeah, just enjoying getting out and using this setup here that's working out pretty good. Pretty good shelter. And yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna just have a coffee session here and regroup, get back out there, probably spend the day, and I figure I'll get home at night. I've got that salmon in the cooler, so it's cold enough out. I don't have to worry about the ice melting too fast. But I do want to thaw my fingers out a little bit here too. All right, check back, warm up my coffee a little bit more, give it a little bit more heat. Get a little brandy here. Just gonna put a cap full in there, maybe 2. Let's give it a little dose. Some of the brandies. There we go. That should warm things up, warm up my fingers a little bit. A little brown sugar. And get back out there. Warmed up and dried off and get back out. Only here for another day probably. I mean today. Probably the last day. Been a good trip. It's been a good trip just to use the equipment, see what's working, what's not working with the setup, and get out and do a little fishing. I actually caught a salmon, so I'm more than happy with that. Got some fillets for the smoker, can't wait to try that.
version of a French press, minus the press. Strainer. Strain it out. Slicing up some ham with some homemade bread. It's pretty good. There's been a wave of fish that have pushed up in a couple of hours here this morning. So I'm taking the opportunity just to work on my technique, and kind of figured out that it's about 8 feet deep out in this channel out here. So I'm counting down a couple of seconds, no more than 5, and then just trying to twitch this back and flick my rod tip to get it to swim like a little bait fish, a jig fly that I have a tutorial tying, how I tie them. But they really do look, if you kind of study how bait fish swim, you watch them darting around and just kind of watch how they dart and dive, you know. They kind of do little short bursts with their, you know, of speed. And so I'm trying to imitate that as best I can in the current. And so it's like 6-8 feet deep, so I'm just letting it sink, casting upstream where I figure it's down, you know, probably 4 anyway, 4 to 6, and just trying to swim it along the bottom. Even in the middle of the water column, these salmon will come up and hit bait fish near the surface too. We see them splashing every now and then when they're chasing stuff. So a lot of it is bait fish dependent. If the bait fish are coming out of the lake up here to spawn, they chase them up. So they seem to come up in little waves. A half a dozen of them or so kind of push up together, and you'll see a few caught or catch one or get a bite, and then they'll push through and there'll be nothing for a couple hours. So it is a game of when they push through, so it can become somewhat of a waiting game. But if you wait it out, usually you hit those times when a few are pushing up, and that's what we're hoping for. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of working on the technique with the jig fly, and it's primarily what I fish with on a spinning rod. Oop, I just had something hit my line there. Fishing away. Sometimes when I'm just practicing like this and just kind of trying different things is when I get surprised. You never know till you try. You never know until you fish for 8 hours. Turned a good fish up here twice, so I just turned a good fish up here twice, so I'm gonna rest this little spot right here. Maybe he'll hit again. I'm gonna fish over here. I got tangled up, came right up to the surface and he threw the lure, so I got to see him. And the lure came back here, it was all tangled up. So giving that rest for a minute, and I'll just kind of focus on this area, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or maybe I'll even go upstream and come back. But I know there's a decent one hanging right there in the current. He hit it twice. The second time I wasn't sure the first time if I hit something or it was the bottom, but the second time he grabbed it and came up to the surface and flipped it and flipped the lure, went up in the trees here. So, or my fly, jig fly. Rest it for a few minutes and come back to it. Parcel here, this little spillway. I'm gonna keep working my way up, see how far up they go. I guess that's what I'm doing today. Yep. Smaller. A little smallmouth. No, it's a little dump trout. Something. Is it a brook trout? What is that? Oh, it was a brook trout. Ain't that something? Little guy, maybe 9-10 inches. But a brook trout. Ain't that something? Huh. Well, I've turned two decent fish and caught that brook trout, fat little brook trout, which I was surprised to see. But I want to try to hit this pool across the river. Try to hit this pool from the other side. It just looked a lot better from this side. Might even start down here and work my way up there. Yeah, let's try that. Pretty nice looking water down through here. Little chutes and pockets and runs and riffles. Little pools. Let's see where they're hiding. Good tug right here. Dang it. They seem to be short striking this morning. They were more aggressive last night. I'm just wondering if they come up this far, and I'm beginning to think, I don't know if these are other trout or smolt. Oh, there he is. He just swirled on it. I had him. It was a brook trout. Huh, another brook trout. He was really after it. He hit it twice. Yeah, I mean, the salmon could definitely come up after brook trout par. That one was probably only 6 or 7 inches. They could come up here after those. I don't think the bait fish would come up this current, but maybe they do. Yeah, he chased it and hit it right there, right off that rock. Well, this is a nice place to sit down and have lunch. Watch this guy fish. Cover it once pretty good. Take a break. I brought some fixins for a sandwich. I'll have to give that a whirl. I'm getting hungry. All this fishing making me hungry. Bag of goodies, cheese and ham and some homemade bread, a few little chocolates. Alright, this is gonna be so good. Hungry again already. I just ate it maybe an hour ago. Not much, but hungry again. Yum yum. Beautiful spot. Pretty sweet. Wow, quite the hiking up through here. Yeah, a couple miles up from the truck through the cedar forest here. Cedar and hemlock. But yeah, I'm just picking my way up through here, enjoying the hike. Stopped and had some lunch. Talked to a few other fishermen down below. Haven't seen anybody up this way, probably for a reason. Fish, I don't know if the fish make it up this far in the spring or not. I know in the fall for sure they do. Well, always wanted to hike up to the dam, so I'm gonna keep hiking up. Now all I need to do to add to it is hook a 6-pound salmon. Wouldn't that be nice? Dare to jump across, I can go fish this little plunge pool over here. Do I dare to do it? Just do it! Just do it! Nah. Just kidding. Did it anyway. Figuring maybe nobody else wants to. We'll get over here and check it out. A little feeder stream. Pretty plungy looking. I'll fish down below that log and get my way over there. Across the current. Cooking up some glorified hot dog stew in my little camper. It's raining and windy and cold out, but I'm sheltered in here. And got the little camp stove going. Some of this Knorr teriyaki noodles, and actually some chopped up Spam, so it's like one notch above hot dog stew. But I call it hot dog stew. I like hot dog stew. Hot dog stew is good when you're camping. Yeah, came back from hiking a couple miles up and back, so it's about 4 miles. So I just took a little nap here. Guys were coming and going. Not many, but a few people came, and I heard car doors open and close, and they came and left. I took a nap. They never knew I was here. That was great. It's pretty cool, pretty stealthy. Works out pretty good. And then when I'm cooking, the stove actually throws a little bit of heat in here, just enough actually to bring it up. It's probably about 40 degrees outside now, and with the stove going in here, probably brings it up to about 60. It doesn't take much, even if you just go on a low burn. And then if it gets colder than that, I could either burn both, or the heater buddy is all I've needed down to 28. I had a 28 degree night the other night, and that was just fine. It takes about 5 minutes to heat it up in here because it's just a small enough space. And I got my little bunk. A buddy of mine brought home a plastic pallet that he found, and I was like, dude, why are you bringing me these things? I said, don't bring me any more stuff. He brought me some cool stuff over the years, but he was always pretty good about finding something and then dropping it off, thinking that I would make something with it, because that's kind of what I do. So, you know, can't blame him for that. But when I remember when he brought me the plastic pallet, I was like, dude, what am I going to do with that? Well, 2 years later, after it was sitting leaning up against the back of the wood pile, it turned out to be just the right height, because I want head height. I want to be able to sit up straight and be able to lean back and stuff and not hit my head on the roof here. So I built it just 6 inches. It's about 6 inches, the thickness of that pallet. And I cut off the legs off of the pallet. Well, I made them into pods off the pallet. It's like 3 by 6 pods make up the pallet. So I cut out the two by 2 sections of it, 2 pods, and made 3 sets of legs going from the back to the front. So from back here to up there, there's like three sets of legs, and that plastic doesn't weigh that much. And with a 5/8 sheet of plywood, gave me the right thickness, so that I could keep my basically keep my head space up here by keeping the floor space low. And it gives me just enough room so that I can bend my knees and put my boots on and off comfortably, and I can put my clothing and stuff like that on and not be sitting directly on the floor. Just enough to have a knee bend. But the most important part, like I said, was to keep this head space. So that's how I got around that issue. Because caps that I've had in the past, when I built above the wheel well, this one kind of there's still a little bit of wheel well sticking above. I cut out around it with a jigsaw, and there's just a little bit. It does not interfere with your comfort when you're sleeping or whatever. It's barely noticeable because it just kind of goes up, and I've got a 2-inch foam mat on top of that. So I kept my headspace by limiting the height above the floor, and that pallet, I think it was 5.5 inches, the height of the plastic. Those pods that are the plastic pods that make up the pallet that I cut out and made legs out of, together with the sheet of plywood, makes it very modular, so that I can take this in and out for work, or when I'm not camping and want to load things in here. But so far, even so, I've just left it in here. I take the pads and the pillows and the camping stuff out, and I can still put my work stuff in here. It's no problem. So it's working out pretty good. And there's the little fairy lights going around the perimeter of the cap. My little daytime, I call them daytime curtains because I can see out, but with the tinted glass, you can't see in here. Even if you cup your hand over the window, surprisingly, you cannot see in here. So yeah, it's working out pretty good. I could be in here, nobody even knows I'm back here. They just think it's a truck sitting here. So little they know I'm spying on them. But it's fun. So that's the rundown on the camper, the new setup for this year. The Colorado, I had a similar setup, but I would sit on the floor because there wasn't enough headroom, because the whole thing was smaller, length times width and height. So this is a full-size pickup, so it's length times width times height is bigger all three ways, and so I'm enjoying that. And there's a rundown on the camper setup. Of course, I got a bunch of junk in here right now, a bunch of stuff in here kind of that I need to organize, but there's a little bunk with the 6-inch legs, including the thickness of the plywood. A little storage unit. I made a table to go over my spare tire. That works great for space, actually. Set those on. There you have it. And there you have it. Here it is, the 4th night of the first trip of 2026. First spring trip, early May. So it's still cold out. Matter of fact, it's been snowing in the morning for the last 2 days. Been here for 3 nights, so this is the 4th night. And it's pretty cozy in here. I've got the heater buddy going. I'm in my t-shirt here. And yeah, you do have to kind of seal up. It seems like in the lightings, I gotta put more puck lights up or whatever. Yeah, more of those. A few more puck lights. Put that on the list. But it seems like, so it's been cold out at night, and I have been stuffing a towel. I did bring a few towels, so I've been stuffing them along the tailgate, because that seems to be where most of the draft is coming in. So far so good, even in the cold weather. And like I said, I'm sitting here in my t-shirt right now. So with the little heater buddy going, I did run this one bottle so far for 3 nights, because I'm just running it for maybe 20 minutes, enough to warm it up in here so that I can get my bedding stuff warmed up and get into bed, and then shut the thing off. Everything's an experiment around here, but I just thought I'd share it. Well, day 4, I'm back out here on the Steelhead stream. Checking out the camping equipment and stuff is a big part of it. So, and hiking walking around and looking at something new, exploring, poking around. That's fun. I'm not too disappointed. I do have a nice fish for the smoker, so can't complain at all. And maple sugaring here last spring, so got a little bit left over in this jar. That's enough. I just want to add a little bit with the apple cider. So not hard apple cider, but just regular apple cider. You don't want to make it too sweet, so add just a little bit of the maple syrup. Kind of rub that in a little bit first, and then a small amount of the maple syrup. Just drizzle on a little bit, and then rub it on each fillet here. I decided I'm going to do both fillets, and even though if I can't eat it all up, so I'll probably freeze one fillet, but after I smoke it, because it's delicate meat, and if you freeze it before you smoke it, it definitely changes the flavor of it. So I'm going to do this as an experiment and try freezing a fillet after it has been smoked. But basically just take a little bit of that maple syrup and rub it in with your finger, and yeah, and then we'll cover it. That's why I like to use a small bread pan like that. That's just just about the right size, so you don't use a ton of the apple cider. So I don't want to use up all my apple cider. Cover it with apple cider, and then let it sit for 6 to 8 hours, and then salt, and then take that out, dry it a little bit with a paper towel, and then put sprinkle salt and pepper on that, and put it in the smoker for about 3 hours. I like to use either apple branches for the smoking or cherry. If I can find cherry, fragrant cherry, or any kind of fruit wood. I haven't tried other fruit woods. I started off with apple branches because it just kind of made sense to go with the apple cider. But I have done it with cherry, with fragrant cherry, which is also a fruit wood, and that comes out really well too. And I do have some cherry, so I'm probably going to use cherry again. The steelhead that I did over the winter came out really good, so I'm going to try this fragrant cherry that I have, and throw that in the smoker with that. So I'm going to split up a little bit of smaller pieces of the cherry that I've got. If I start off with just like matchlight charcoal, just some charcoal, and get about 15 or 20 bricks, little briquettes in the bottom, and then after that burns down for about an hour or so, then I put the fruit wood on top of that and let it smoke for about 3 hours. So here we go. Yeah, look at how good those fillets look before I marinate them. I take a pair of pliers, needle nose pliers, and pick out any pin bones, and then also leave the skin on. So I leave the skin on one side. That's the side that'll go down on the grill inside of the smoker. So, and then just take a spatula every once in a while and make sure it's not stuck. But the skin, I leave the skin down, so that way that side can get a little crispy, and it kind of protects the meat from getting overdone if the smoker gets a little hot. So it goes up into flame a little bit. I take a spray of water inside of a little sprayer and mist it just enough to douse the fire, and then put the lid back on it, and it'll smoke for a longer period of time. It'll smoke for a longer period of time if you let it catch flame, and then douse it with a sprayer, a little mist spray bottle. So here we go. Show and tell here. Fresh batch. Probably should shake it up because sometimes the sediment will be in the bottom. So I'll shake it up a little bit, and yeah, I'm just kind of douse it, cover it, and I put that in a cool place inside, so because it'll attract insects, flies. It's a little cold out for flies right now, just starting to warm up. It was down to 28 last night again, so I had the wood fire going in the house when I just got back last night. But I'm doing this the next day while this is still fresh. Sometimes on a bigger fish, I'll even take a fork and just kind of perforate the meat a little bit so that that sinks in there. But that's fine for that. They're just barely covered with the apple cider. I'll move it around a little bit, poke it around, just make sure it's submerged, and then put it in the refrigerator for 6 to 8 hours. And then in the meantime, I'll get my smoker fired up with the briquettes and get that going. And there you have it. Cherry and apple, 5 inches long, cut it into small pieces like that and split it up. Different sizes. And throw that on the charcoal. After the charcoal is pretty much burnt down, but it's still got a good glow to it, so it'll just keep it going. I like to see it rolling about like that. Temperature, so you can keep your hand on it for about 5 seconds. That's too hot. At least 5 seconds. You can cold smoke it, you can hot smoke it, you can partially cook it. Personal preference, I guess. I like to have it so that I can put my hand on there for about that long. I can try to maintain that. I use a little spray bottle. If it catches fire and I want it to, sometimes I let it go for a little bit. Let the flame go for a little bit and let it catch, but then douse it so that it'll smoke like that. Can't overspray it, can't underspray it. It's an experiential thing. I've been doing it for years, so yeah, it's about 3 hours. I don't have a thermometer on this one. I've been doing it for a long time, so I know it takes about 3 hours for a fish that size. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. You gotta try it. You gotta kind of figure out some of this stuff for yourself, but there's a little primer for you.